of a particular indie wrestling organization. So that's the only celebrity status that I have. As you can see, I am such a celebrity. I have absolutely no toilet paper right behind me.
Yeah, no, that's because I'm hoarding it all.
Exactly. You hoarded it all. You stole it all from us.
Yes, I
I
don't actually have toilet paper.
If there are requests in the comments section to go perform a suplex on top of those toilet paper to Nikhil, I will definitely be able to accomplish that task. No problem.
Well, all right. Let's jump into the interview. I just want to give you a few minutes to introduce yourself. Who
Okay.
are you, and what do you do? Why are you famous in Nick's books?
Okay. Okay. My name is Mustafa Ali. On Facebook, I'm Mustafa Ali Walajahi. Passport-wise, Mustafa Ali Rashid. They're technically two different names of my parents. That is. So I like both last names. So I just can't. I just have to decide which one I want to keep. So amongst my last names. So yeah, basically I am, what do you call it? I am currently enrolled in a paralegal program. Currently we're isolated. Um, I have a relatively healthy lifestyle, relatively speaking, that is. I take it easy. I have what I've developed as a lazy man's workout as well, especially considering the current circumstances. And I know it's very hard. Like, I've went through this weird journey of ups and downs where it started off with absolutely no athletic background. Like, I legit started lifting when I was 18. Like, and even with sports, I started like after 18. I didn't do crap before this. So, I like, again, I've, like yourselves, like all of you, we've all developed some body insecurities as well, but we're overcoming them. I'm in the process of overcoming certain body insecurities. I love professional wrestling. I've trained in professional wrestling. I have, what do you call it? I've done some, in like commentary. I've worked in professional wrestling as an announcer, as a referee. I've only wrestled in two different occasions, but mind you, they weren't official shows. One was a battle royal, and one was just like a rookie roundup show. Basically, it was kind of like a game show that we had to, like, we were given a set time, perform a match or wrestle.
You're telling me you didn't fight as a referee?
Referee, you could get hit. I've gotten hit by a kendo stick as a referee. I think I've taken like certain moves by accident by wrestlers, and I've supposedly passed out, and I've had the audience scream, ref, wake up, wake up. So mostly I've had the most fun as a referee. Mind you, it's also tiring as well. I do want to continue wrestling. um I've basically I forget to mention, I have been a promoter as well. I used to promote as a business owner for North Star Wrestling Alliance, NSWA. I briefly ran that company. I've worked with CWF. I've worked with Crossfire Wrestling. I've worked with certain, like, even schools like Battle Arts. I was also one of the sort of like silent co-founders of Revolution Women's Wrestling. So we really recently did a women's wrestling show. Unfortunately, due to the circumstances, we had to cancel that wrestling show. But yeah, like, there's definitely, wrestling has definitely been quite a journey. And yeah, I've even done some refereed a show in Hamilton as well, like Hamilton, Niagara Falls, what do you call it, Mississauga. I've covered Toronto. I've covered Fort Erie. I've even done a show at what is this place? Aurelia. I've gone as far as Aurelia so far. I haven't crossed the border yet or gone through the rest of Canada, but that's kind of the goal, basically.
Yeah, well, if you leave now, you can't come back, or else you'll have to quarantine yourself for 14 days.
Exactly. Unfortunately, I can't leave right now. But once the situation's over, I like to train more as a wrestler. Like I have other talents like an announcer or a referee, but I really also want to officially wrestle in a match, at least a one-on-one match. And I've done training matches before, and my acting skills are better than my wrestling skills. So yeah, that is kind of an advantage, but also it's a blessing and a curse at the same time because it is extremely entertaining, but it's hard to take you seriously at the same time. And even sometimes your partner, because in wrestling it's a work, right? It's a work, so your partner would get worried, like, "Geez, are you really hurt?" So he would get extremely worried. So yeah, I've faced those situations, and I've been worried too about my partners. I was like, holy, are you okay? Are you okay? It's like in the middle of a match, you're like, oh my god, I hope I didn't hurt him so bad or hurt her so bad, depending on if you're a referee or a wrestler, that is, right? Or if you are constantly worried about your partner, that is.
Well, yeah, that's actually a thing that I want to segue into.
Yeah.
I know that you are into wrestling, but before I get your history on martial arts, I just want to ask you, how did the fitness journey? Why did you want to get into fitness first of all?
Why did I want to get to fitness? Okay.
Yeah.
I think this happened I can trace it back to high school. This was like 10, 11th grade, I would say. And mainly it started with taekwondo classes that we had. And from there it was the spark that, we loved kicking and, our cardio and whatnot. Um, I wanted to better myself, that is. I also, obviously, as a teenage adolescent, um, like with very raging hormones, you also had the desire to attract members of the opposite gender, or you just wanted to appear more attractive. That's why that was like the initial goal. But over time, it started to, like, become more about maintaining movements, maintaining your health. Also the fact that you want to be able to function properly, because I've learned the importance of being able to function. The aesthetic is just the bonus that comes with it, whereas the important thing is just the functional, to do everyday tasks, just play sports, anything athletic, or even to do tasks. Like it is as humans, we have evolved, but we're still primates by nature, and we have to do those certain movements because our bodies are made to hunt or to
Yeah.
climb trees and cliffs and whatnot. Our bodies are made to do amazing things, but we're not able to utilize them as much. So this is sort of like trying to keep that, the body active to, like, utilize those muscles to their fullest potential.
Yeah. So with that, like, why specifically did you choose martial arts then, and what experience did you have in it?
Oh, okay. I didn't specifically choose martial arts. Again, I started lifting. I do lifting, but I used to do Muay Thai. Again, train in Muay Thai, right?
Yeah.
So Taekwondo, then transition to Muay Thai, and transition to pro wrestling. That is. Um, Before backtracking onto that, like I kept weight training with me, right?
Yeah.
Now, why I chose specific martial arts? So Taekwondo, because the class was available. That was the only class that I could learn how to fight. Martial arts, Muay Thai, was basically the another available, like, along with kickboxing. It was close to my university. I
Yeah.
went to Brock, by the way. Um, so Muay Thai Niagara, where I went to train. I just wanted to learn how to, combat, right? I just wanted to learn how to combat and utilize my body better. Now, the thing I discovered in that was that it was not something I wanted to pursue as a side thing. I really loved professional wrestling since I was a child. And professional wrestling, um, what what happened was after I finished my university, because the advice I've gotten from professional wrestlers who worked in the business is finish your school first. Finish your school. Don't pursue this career. Finish school. At least have something to back up. Um, so finished school, then I joined a professional wrestling gym in St. Catharines, CWF, Canadian Wrestling Federation. It was run by Chris Thorne, and he was my trainer there. And yeah, honestly, this was the biggest shock to my fitness journey. So with professional wrestling, it's very different. You see, when you're running the ropes, you're doing all those drills, performing those moves, you are working certain muscles that never get worked. And not only that, your cardio, your what do you call it? Your endurance gets very tested. I've had 2 rounds where I have puked after running the ropes.
Yeah, and
I
it's the
have
same thing for
vomited.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well. Everyone's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you see, like when you watch the first Shamrock versus Hoist Grace, the
Mhm.
Gracie fight, and you see like you're like, dude, he's just like sitting there like choking Shamrock out for like 30 minutes. Most people don't understand how much cardio grappling takes and how much
Absolutely.
strength and grappling it.
Oh yeah. Like there's that weird impression that, oh, this is a fake sport. You just need to be a good actor. That was the biggest misconception in what do you call it, professional wrestling, because definitely you do need the same athleticism as any martial arts. You do need that endurance. The endurance is very important because you don't want to get gassed in the middle of a match, and you don't want to say slow down, slow down, slow down. So you do not want that. So it tested my endurance, and I kind of like I used to I modified my workouts based off of that. And even though I don't test my endurance as much, because let's face it, we're isolated, we're locked down currently, and also I kind of go easy on myself as well. Guilty, guilty. And yeah, no, it is a very um it's it's not it even like the you've seen the move, right, where they do a clothesline and off the
Yeah,
top, and then the guy goes over the rope.
yeah,
That is actually a very scary move, because you're going back onto your head and you're basically trying to stop your fall, but your instincts say that you should not fall on your head. So
yeah.
in itself,
You can
wrestling,
turn into Christopher Reeves really quick.
yeah, you can. This is very scary. This is scary stuff. Like even a suplex or a body slam, it looks normal. Like, oh, this is a wrestling move everybody
It
does.
hurts your
But
back so much.
not only that, if you do it wrong, you can land on your head. That is the risk.
Yeah, it
I've
won't
had,
hurt if you land on your
I've
head, but
had,
like,
I've broken, I've torn my rotator cuff. I have had a concussion. I've even had like case of vertigo as well, and which was why I kind of, sort of took it easy, took a bit of a break from wrestling, and school got busy. What do you call it? So I took a break, but I did want to also get in shape, because in wrestling, what's important is you want to look the part too. You also just like have if you look at wrestlers like Triple H, The Rock, these guys, like, you would want to put, why do you watch them? Because you want to have a poster of these guys. This is sort of like the ideal that you want to get to. Isn't that correct? Even John Cena, it's a very ideal like physique. And professional wrestling, you don't have to have six-pack abs for this. You don't have to have six-pack abs, but you need to look a certain intimidating way that stands out, like Rikishi, for example, or Yokozuna, very massive sumos. You have Big Shows, you have your Canes, like you, and even your Rey Mysterios. He's a smaller guy, but he's not only very good shape, but he has that mask, the luchador mask, and he stands out. And he has a very athletic style where he can like do flips and everything. So wrestling works in this, like you're trying to be a unique superhero, like you are portraying a comic book in real life. And what's what that and that means that as a professional wrestler, your endurance and also how you look, both your endurance and how you look is very, very important. You There are certain exceptions like Kevin Owens, but even then those are rare exceptions, that he's just willing to do crazy moves. But other than that, you have to like look, like when you're switching TV, right? You would only watch professional wrestling if someone looks in amazing shape. Like even the women's wrestling, you see these women are in amazing shape. These women are in amazing shape. So you you wanna it's you wanna like have that image to like captivate attention and interest. That is, otherwise why would I put like and also with wrestling, why would I put like an average Joe on my poster? I don't want to put an average Joe on my poster, or the background of my computer. I would want something ideal, and that's and people want to aspire to that. So it's the harsh reality of professional wrestling. It's one of the very harsh things that you know most wrestlers that are learning, we have to accept. But we have to work with what we got. And unfortunately, there are those who turn to like gear, to like enhance their physique. And as we've noticed, like there have been unfortunate instances, like the tragedy of Chris Benoit, which was the side effects of said substances. I would recommend watching the Dark Side of Pro Wrestling, the documentary, as a sort of like a better to better understand that situation, because wrestling has had its it does have a very dark side as well.
Yeah.
Um,
In my opinion, like people who have to get to that level of stature in
mhm,
terms of athleticism, a lot of them can't actually get there without some sense of body dysmorphia. And I think like there's a documentary on if Arnold about it, where
mhm.
a lot of bodybuilders nowadays they can't get that big without looking like a bag of walnuts,
Yeah,
without like having some sort of body dysmorphia. So
I
them
think
taking
BBC did a documentary like that, where I don't know what's the psychological phenomena called. Crap, I forgot. And basically, they were doing the bodybuilder thinks that he's not big enough, and there's this expectation, that the perfection, like it's just have very unhealthy expectations. And then when you see these celebrities doing 4 month, 6 month, 30-day transformations that are completely unrealistic, let's be real.
oh, they're
Then
realistic if you have millions of dollars to pay for steroids in the back of the locker room, and
well,
you can pay
again,
for
but
trainers and
when we're talking naturally, that is,
yeah,
we're talking
naturally,
natural. What we want to encourage is natural fitness. And
yeah.
I'm a huge advocate for natural fitness. And the thing is, like, I'm not going to go on and on and about how much of a natty I am. Like, look at me, I'm in the greatest shape. But what's important is that the, like, before, if I see like, people getting tempted to gear guys, there is that temptation to like reach that ideal state. But unfortunately, like there's just not enough education, and there's not enough awareness of the side effects of certain substances. And also, these are very expensive habits to keep. You also have to keep those in mind. And not only that, you want people are should be there's also a lot of fake naturals out there, as you've noticed. Fake natural Lots of fake naturals out there.
Bradley Martin.
Yeah. And what was that other guy who was doing those, Bradley Martin, that's what you said?
Oh no, he's another YouTuber for people who watch bro science. Uh,
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Mhm.
Dom Mazzetti who
Yeah,
always is
yeah,
like,
yeah, Don Mazzetti. Oh, I love that guy. I love that guy.
yeah, and his Make-A-Wish younger brother.
Yeah. You know what Don Mazzetti is an
He's pretty
example of?
natural, yeah.
No, Don Mazzetti, in terms of in wrestling language, he's playing a character. Don Mazzetti.
Yeah, his original name is Mike, and he has a car channel that I really watch because
Yeah,
I'm a huge car geek. But
yeah, yeah.
like, yeah, his guys, please check him out.
No, no, no.
But
Fuck
if you
no.
look at like the difference between Brad and Don, like Mike, you can clearly see a huge difference as to one guy who trains
Yeah,
naturally and another guy who you can tell is clearly on something.
yeah. And not only that, there's also this misconception that you can tell by looking. That's true only to an extent. There are a lot of lifters out there who were discovered of taking gear, but they never looked like they took gear. Case in point, you have guys like Mr. Kennedy or Mr. Anderson from professional wrestling. Does not look like he takes gear. You have Lance Armstrong, who was taking gear. It's very difficult to tell who is and who isn't on some form of medicinal boosting support, that is, for to in order to gain an advantage over others. And it's plagued the fitness industry. I remember Rich Piana saying that this should be it should be legalized. That way we can reduce the deception. Rich Piana, rest in peace. Reduce the deception, as well as like you want doctors to know uh,
What exactly the person's on.
exactly. You want the doctors to know so that they can be treated efficiently and according to what they took, basically. So the doctors should have an idea. So it's more of a safety thing. And also, it shouldn't be a shame thing as well. Like, hey, someone says I'm taking steroids. Okay, cool. Like, I want people to be able to admit so that, like, there's no, like, unrealistic expectations on others.
Yeah, because like for me, the biggest thing that I would take away from like someone who has it
Mm-hmm.
is it's not something that we can shame because like there's a specific term, medical term called for people who have that called bigorexia, which is the
Yeah.
opposite of anorexia. So we
Mhm.
wouldn't shame someone who has anorexia, same way we wouldn't shame someone who would have the desire to become the biggest bodybuilder because like at one point you can't look like me and be like, oh, I'm aesthetically beautiful. Like you have to think no matter how big you are, you have to think I got to get bigger. And to the point where like to be at the top of that game, it's almost to the level of being a mental illness to some point. So for me, like yeah, legalizing it to a point where people can come and talk more openly about it without having the stigma and
Yeah.
seek the proper treatment that they would need is definitely something that I think should be
Yeah.
considered
I
for
Oh, yeah.
legislation.
Oh, yeah. And not only that, but I think that we also have to celebrate, like, what do you call it? Make bodies a bit more realistic, at least. Like, or at least, like, not. We need to stop a lot of myths about, um, what do you call it? Fitness status. Everybody is, I've seen like people in their weird bubbles, that is. And also we need to stop shaming people for their bodies because it's something they cannot control. And making fun of somebody who's out of shape is like making fun of a sick person.
Yeah.
That it's equivalent to that. Well, again, that's my opinion, that is. And not only that, like, what if they're actually putting in the work and they're not seeing the results yet? You don't know.
Yeah.
You have no. And I've been in that situation. I used to be very out of shape, and I used to be overweight, like. And keep in mind, everybody thinks that having a, like, the stomach area is the one they should lose. The biggest misconception is that it's not easy to lose. Like, again, people think that this is easy to lose. No, you cannot lose belly fat, because belly fat is the one that you lose the last.
Yeah, it's the first. It's
It's
first
the
in, first out.
first
Last
in, first
in,
out.
last out.
First in, last out. And that's because it's a survival strategy, that is, for the body at least.
Keeping the
So
core warm.
exactly, the core needs to be warm. And not only that, like, to have a better understanding of what's obese and what's not, we look at sumo wrestlers or even certain professional wrestlers. Um, like, they have what you call subcutaneous fat. That is, if you see Big Show, or if you see like certain sumo wrestlers, they have, and Rikishi as well. So, and Mark Henry, they have subcutaneous fat, which is like, there's muscle underneath and it's over the skin mainly. And they just have a very different kind of they lift a lot. These guys lift a lot, but they also eat a lot too. And it's a very different lifestyle. Like, they're just not they have strength and they have like size, but they just don't have the vascularity because that's not what they're working on. But they're very athletic at the same time.
Yeah.
So they've just not, like, because having a certain vascularity, it's like artwork, right? You have to kind of put in sort of like, it's like a painting that you're doing, that you have to put in separate time for this. And with professional wrestling or certain sports, you can't afford to do that, because what you see on a bodybuilding stage is the bodybuilder's weakest physique, that is. Whereas if you notice, even The Rock had some padding on him before he joined Hollywood, because even as a fighter too, you need to have certain padding to protect yourself, that is.
Yeah.
And when you're taking a flat like bump or taking a body slam, you want the body to take the impact, that is.
Yeah.
And the more the body fat kind of helps. So fat isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just has to be the good fats that you have to consume, that is. So people, like, we're not saying consume a shit ton of Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
But we're saying that consume your good fats, at least, like your nuts, your good sugars, that is, like with bananas, fruits, and all that stuff. So you want to keep some padding, but also, like, I'm kind of an advocate for, there should be some padding, but then there also should be like an aesthetic physique as well. Like, it just, like, you have to have a good base, that is, a good lifting base. So, and that way you can kind of work, even if you gain weight, like, you can lose it quickly, and then you have like a sort of like a base area to go to, that is. And most of us we're let's just say, I'm relatively, if you do this test, right, I am large framed for a guy my height. You are large framed for a guy your height. For us, it's very difficult to lose fat. It's very difficult because our bodies maintain fat, and because we're not the tallest guys, so we're not going to look the most aesthetically pleasing. However, we do have certain athletic advantages in areas of strength and in areas of, like, functionality, because we're able to move objects from one place to another with a lot more efficiency.
Yeah, we got that Neanderthal gene in us.
Yeah, the legs, the strong legs. Never skip leg day, guys. Never skip leg day.
Yeah, I know Mustafa's seen my legs. I never skipped leg day. Squats were my favorite powerlifting event.
You know what's funny though? As much as I hated leg day when I started out, when I was doing Muay Thai and professional wrestling, I had no choice
But
to
to do
skip it.
legs.
Exactly. There was no choice but to skip it. Even if I decided to skip it, I'm doing 100, 200 squats in that gym. So I'm screwed, if anything. So what I did was, because there was a lot of leg work, for my leg work, I did struggle with squats. So with squats, like back squats, not so much front, back squats, because I had like a little rotator cuff here. So I'm not able to put a lot of pressure and weight on my back squat. So I did the alternative. I do like goblet squats, or I do the decline leg presses, or I do like leg presses generally. And I do a lot of leg presses, leg extensions, leg curls, front leg curls. So kind of like keep the legs active. And even like, body weight squats do a lot for endurance as well, just to like keep them active, because despite having a shoulder problem, and I've seen guys having shoulder problems, having difficulty doing back squats. So you
Yeah.
kind of want to,
That's actually one thing, the reason why I quit squats overall, like doing weighted squats overall,
yeah,
because for me to actually get a full-on workout with a weighted squat, they're putting 100, 102 kilos on my back. For
mhm,
American or stupid, that's 225 pounds.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But in that sense, like I got my legs to a point where if I laid down on the ground, like the sheer weight on my legs hurt my legs.
yes,
And so like I had to go from that to pure body weight exercises because like my body just couldn't handle
yeah.
transformation.
And one tip I've seen, like, I struggle with like functioning legs the next day with DOMS, right? Delayed
Yeah.
onset of muscle soreness. So I kind of solved that problem. What I did was I stuck with 2 to 3 sets only. And basically, what do you call it? Mainly 2 sets, and keep the legs active, like with leg presses, or if I'm doing body weight squats or leg presses, I do like a certain weight range, like 5 to 15, that is, per set. Because you kind of want a muscle growth, but also endurance. And I've developed a workout regimen based on wrestling, based on Muay Thai, that I can keep myself active almost every day, that is. And even if I decide to rest, it's not going to harm me as much. Usually I stick to 2 to 3 sets, not more than that. I've seen guys do like 4 or 5 sets. You don't have to unless you're actually competing in like bodybuilding or powerlifting. You do not have to do a lot of sets. And not only that, like I've worked out before wrestling training too, so I kind of built that tolerance. But I've discovered that there's a way, like 2 sets or 3, like Triple H suggested, right? You want to, if you're also doing an athletic program, or you're traveling a lot, you kind of want to do a workout such that it's time efficient, and you keeping your body active too. And also, like, when he did suggested 2 sets to 4 sets, and him saying 2 sets, even if you do 2 sets, that's enough. I'm like, holy, that's a very different approach too. And this guy is like a professional wrestler too, right? And this is again his suggestion to beginners, mind you. This is what his suggestion is to beginners. You don't have to stress yourself out too much. um I know golden rule is 3. I say 2 because you could also get bored as well. So you want to move on to like newer exercises as well. And you still want to be able to do it the next day so you can kind of recover faster. So it's kind of this weird, it's motivation that keeps you going. It's very hard to explain. And also with diet too. As long as you're getting your macronutrients, just don't stress about what you're eating too much. You should be concerned, like stick like that celebrity thing where, oh, I only ate rice, chicken, and broccoli. Where the hell are they getting the micronutrients from? What kind of meal is that? Like, you want your micronutrients as well. You want your fruits, you want your vegetables, you want like,
One variety.
and you want some
You
fats
don't
too.
want to be chugging down like bottles of butter, but like you want a
Exactly.
mix of everything.
You want to mix up things, right? And having an ice cream once in a while, that's not gonna hurt you. Having like what do you call it? What do you call it? One soda if you're out with your friends, that's not gonna hurt you. If anything, and sometimes you're staying with your parents at times, you can't tell your parents what to cook, so you're gonna eat what you're given, right? And all of that, we should also aim to eat to survive as well, like eat to survive. If you see like like the Aboriginal tribes in different countries, they maintain a very slender physique because they just eat to survive. And the 3 time, 4 time, 5 time a meal a day, I think it's just bogus. I feel like it should depend on the person. There's no like clear cut formula. Eat when you're hungry
Yeah.
and work out when you can, and when you're not like bloated. Don't work out then because you're gonna puke. I've done that. I've not puked, but I've developed a ability not to puke because of professional wrestling. Because why not? Oh, one of my trainers suggested this diet. Again, if you're training in wrestling, you're eating fruits mainly and liquids before wrestling training. Don't eat a heavy meal. After wrestling training, eat a heavy meal. Heck, you can even gorge down an entire pizza if you want
Yeah.
to. And that's usually the day we're doing a show or doing wrestling.
Yeah, what's the old saying? It's like warriors never eat before a war, or they
Mm,
go to like war empty stomached or something like that.
yeah, or at least like eat like fruits that are absorbed easy. They're digested very easily, or
Yeah,
they're absorbed in like oranges and bananas, and apples, very easy to absorb kind of fruits that is.
yeah,
And you eat that. Heck, you can even have one apple before workout, do your workout, eat an entire meal after. So,
yeah,
it I feel like that kind of formula helps me because I can do like exercises and then I can justify myself eating a lot after. And it's sort of like me hasn't it has like sort of like has this weird maintenance kind of deal, like I haven't gained like even that they've even done research on the one big meal a day kind of thing, and it actually is quite effective. Like, so there's no set number of meals per day that you have to consume, unless if you're doing a bodybuilding competition or fitness competition or something like that, then follow the advice of your coach.
yeah. So
As an
yeah, one thing that I wanted to get into as well for this podcast is um, what are some at-home workouts that people can do during this time of quarantine?
ooh boy, my favorite subject. Okay, I have a list of I have a workout that I myself do. Um, so again, if you can and cannot do it, that's okay. I'll start with my personal workout. That is, so I start
Yeah.
with.
So this will also be in the for people just so they know. This will also be in the description of this.
I will add a
Yeah.
description, and I'll
Yeah.
give you a few more workouts as well, which was suggested by some good friends as well. But first, I'll give you my own. So
Yeah.
I do 2 to 3 sets of squats, whether it's a goblet or body weight squat. Reps, bare minimum if I'm having a really bad day, 5, but at most I can go 25, 30. It's again, this is for depending on, keep that range big. Some days it's going to be endurance, some days it's going to be muscle growth. So 2 to 3 sets. Sometimes stick with 2, it's okay. um, if you want, add lunges. So lunges, same principle that you can apply, 5 to 25 each side. um, 2 to 3 sets, however you want to do it. um, then I move on to the back, that is, which is very important. So I do, if you have a pull-up bar, you can do this. Um, Alternatives, like I'll explain the alternatives. So with pull-ups, 2 to 3 sets. With pull-ups, because it's body weight, so it's like 5 to like 50. If I can do 10, because I'm a heavier guy. But if you can do more, go ham. Go ham if you can do more. And 2 to 3 sets, same principle. Um, then I can do either push-ups or floor press.
Yeah.
2 to 3 sets, same principle. That's like your back and chest. Now I do either a dumbbell row, like
Like
a full
lawnmower
row,
pull.
the bent
Yeah.
over dumbbell row, or I use a band and I do like a straight seated or straight standing row.
Yeah,
That
there's actually alternatives to stuff like this because I know Mark Henry, strongman, he actually uses sacks of potatoes and stuff. So you might
mm,
not have like you're like, oh, I can't do bench press, but what you can do is take a backpack, put some books into it, and do push-ups for
yeah.
extra
Or
resistance. You
yeah,
can like take a,
yeah,
or you can take like a bag of potatoes or something and
yeah,
do like the
yeah,
regular lawnmower
yeah,
pulls like that.
yeah. So you have those alternatives available to you.
Yeah, and
And
they'll be in the description of this video as well.
yeah. And the second chest workout, because I do 2 chest workouts, is a decline bench press, which no, not a decline push-up, which is my feet are elevated. My feet are elevated by a chair or by the stairs, and then I'm doing push-ups because it's working the upper chest.
Yeah.
What's important is people forget the importance of the upper chest. It's the alternative to the incline bench press.
Yeah.
So you want to work the upper chest. If you want, you can also do a incline push-up, but that's going to work the main lower chest as well, which you can do. It's optional. If for beginners, that's easier as well, like incline push-ups and knee push-ups are easier for beginners, that is. So I would recommend sticking with push-ups. So that's 2 chest workouts, 2 back workouts. Then I do, you don't have to do this, a shoulder workout. It's optional. So I do dumbbell shoulder press. Sometimes I'll do one side, sometimes both. It depends, 2 to 3 sets, same principle, same number of sets and reps. Then I switch to my arm workout. Any form of curling with a resistance band or a dumbbell, that's your bicep. Bicep, you can go as many reps possible because you want to, pump up the bicep. Then we
Thank
go to
God this is a
tricep.
kid-friendly workout, or kid-friendly episode, or else I was going to make a joke there for arm exercises.
And then tricep. You can do what do you call it? Uh, it's called like what do you call it? You can do like diamond
Diamond
push-ups,
push-ups or triangle push-ups where you put your
diamond
hands down
push-ups,
like that and then you do
or
a push-up.
you can do like a seated what do you call those things? Like seated dip,
Yeah, the
seated
dips
dip.
like where you go like this and
Yeah. The seated dip.
yeah,
Or you can take a band, put it on top of a door or like anything that's hanging, and
and
then you can
pull.
do push downs, that is,
Yeah,
push downs,
yeah.
tricep push downs. So any one of those is good enough, and as many reps as possible, 2 to 3 sets.
Yeah.
Um, Also, triceps need to be pumped. Triceps don't get as much love as the biceps do, but I feel like triceps should get that
Triceps need to
love.
get the love as
And
well.
yeah, they need your love, they need your respect, they need your attention, and they are 70 to 75% of your arm strength and size is your triceps. So the tricep is a very important muscle group that goes ignored. If you want to do abs, you don't have to do abs. Like look up some
Just do a
like
few sit-ups.
few sit-ups, crunches,
Same amount
Russian.
of reps and sets that we discussed before.
Yeah, any number of reps and sets with that. If you want to go for cardio, that is. Now, mind you, cardio you can do a separate day or after these exercises. I would suggest if you want maximum weight fat loss, do it after the exercise. If you want to go a bit slower with the change, don't worry, you can do it even before the exercises as you warm up as well. As long you can even go just for a walk too around the neighborhood. You don't have to run, you don't have to jog, but you can jog, that's optional as well.
If you're
Or
overweight, don't jog because it's bad for you.
there's also like, yeah, and not only that, like we are aware that our viewers, not all our viewers may have certain like different thresholds to conditioning like this. It's optional, but I would recommend at least doing the resistance movements because resistance movements are essential for both fat loss and getting into the aesthetic shape that you want. Now if you're a beginner, you're gonna see major changes. If you're not a beginner, then it'll be a maintenance for you, but you'll stay active. Again, this is best we can do. We're trying our best, um, and try to find ways to make this challenging. The simplest workout. This was recommended to me by by a good friend of mine. She suggested that you can walk like 30 minutes, 20 minutes before, after, doesn't matter. Uh, 2 to 4 sets of push-ups, and try to get to like 100 reps. If you can't, don't, that's okay. Um, but 2 to 4 sets of push-ups, 2 to 4 sets of squats, 2 to 4 sets of lunges, and 2 to 4 sets of sit-ups or crunches. And these are just the 4 main, very core basic exercises you want to do. And this was recommended to me by someone who competed in a bikini contest as well. Surprise, surprise. So
Something I would love to see, but
you would love to see that. But this is what she recommended, that this is all I did.
yeah,
And
it's definitely a good recommendation for beginners.
this is a very beginner centric workout. It's just the 4 push up. And if you want to add pull up as well, if you can, it's not a must because sometimes we don't have access to pull up bars.
Yeah.
So push up, squat, lunge, crunch. These are the 4 exercises you must do. Again, if you want to keep things simple, 2 sets at least, the bare minimum you should do. So and you will see some results. If you've been very out of shape, you've not been motivated, start out with the simple ones and then kind of work your way up.
Yeah.
And add more things to it.
Well, yeah, Mustafa, thank you for dropping by for this podcast.
No problem.
Definitely fun having you on, and I wish that in the future we'll be doing a lot more episodes of you.
Oh, absolutely. I would love
Yeah.
to join you. Love to talk about pro wrestling, fitness. Today was just more of an overview, like a very simplified version of it, but we'll talk in more detail about specific topics as well.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nick, for having me.
Yeah, all the information that we talked about in terms of workouts will be in the description.
Okay.
You can modify them to your wish, but like we said, we recommend at least 2 sets.
Yes.
Because you don't want your workout to be like you walking to the end of your driveway and coming back home.
And not only that, you don't want to make it feel like a chore too.
Yeah.
You kind of want to simplify it as well. There are a few other bodyweight workouts on the internet that you can find, and it's a simple Google search as well. Plenty of options that you have.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So please do subscribe, guys, and
follow me on Instagram.
Yeah, his details will be here as well
In the description below.
in the description. All right. Take care, guys.